Welcome to Tammy's Soul Speak, featuring animal intuitive and medium Tammy Hendricks, offering insight, spirituality, transformation, and clarity to every soul. Now, here's Tammy.
Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday, wherever you are in the world. It's a beautiful day here, a bit breezy in Asheville, but beautiful nonetheless. And all the trees are coming out and the flowers are blooming. The bears are roaming around. So I always keep you updated on that. And if you are in part of the world today that has that crazy tornado weather, we are so with you and hope you can join. And if not, there's always the replay. Always be safe, of course. Crazy, crazy tornadoes everywhere. And I see as you come into the room, you're already bringing your wonderful energy with you. It's been amazing this morning. I thought I needed to tell you all, you should be in my place because the animals are skedaddling to the show. They are literally coming forward. So I remember James has always said, when he does mediumship workshops or readings, the spirits gather ahead of time, even into the day ahead of, him doing the event. So I'm totally right there. We have like Animal Kingdom is here today. Hi, Bob. I'm really glad to see you. Always glad to see you. Bob says, when you and an animal have a bond of unconditional love between you, it's truly a special gift from God. I agree. And remember, God spelled backwards is dog, and dog's a reflection of his love for us. Beautifully said. Thank you for starting out with that. That's so lovely. What a great beginning, right? And hey, Barbara from Vegas and the pups. Brenda, glad you could make it. You stay safe. Hey, Patty, good to see you. And Dee, good. Oh, I'm glad you're here too. I'm always so excited to, it's like we're all gathering again. I'm looking forward to talking to you. Michelle, nice to see you from South Carolina. Hello, Katrina, always good. And Patricia from Canada. Claire, happy Wednesday to you too across the pond. And Lori, all these wonderful, it's great to see you. Maxine, Brenda from San Diego, California. And Heather, Heather and crew are here from Georgia. Hope everyone is well. Yes, and Jennifer, good to see you. I'm looking forward to today, she said. I was really looking forward to today too. Like I said, the animals have come in mass. So it's no telling what we will get into. I never know. We have a sort of a topic they give me, and then I turn it over to spirit and the animals, and they lead the way. Susie, oh, good morning to you. Been thinking about my Bella recently. She's been on my mind a lot. I'm having a lot of people tell me that their animals are really present with them, and they're coming forward in all different kinds of ways. Um, it's totally in sync with this show for sure on the signs and messages, the synchronicities. Amazing. Um, yeah, Veronica's hello, and Jennifer, good to see you. Little Franny, the little precious Franny. Um, Sheila and Angela, Janice, nice to see all of you all. I'm so glad you're here. And Paola, hi, it's good to see you. Everybody, love it. You're coming in with such beautiful energy. Joy from Wilmington, wow, love it. Kat, good to see you. And Donna and Patricia, or no, I'm sorry, Pamela. I always like the angel light throws me a second, and then I remember Kara. Good to see you. Hope Stetson's doing well. And Jen, oh wow, from Nova Scotia, Canada. Yay! Oh, Betty says I'm desperate to hear from my best friend. You know, we all want to hear from our animals, right? And, especially if we've had a recent loss. I was thinking about this, and, when I ask for photos and questions, I usually will email back if I can and say, is there something you really need clarity on? The quality of our questions actually brings out the soulful part of the reading. And so it's super important. to think about, what is it I need clarity on? What am I still working on with my animal who's passed? I'm still, grieving terribly, and I'd really like to know. But, after an animal passes at first, I feel like you just go numb, and you're in this altered state anyway of trying to figure out how can they be here one day and not the next, and your life just changed forever. And so I don't know if we always have questions right at the beginning. I really don't. About, I don't know, 10 days, no, it's been about a week ago, a little bit more. My sweet Teddy passed, and he was 10 and a half. And for some of you who have come to the show before, Teddy came to me in a dream several months ago that I shared on one of the shows. And it was an amazing dream, and I did not know he would pass at only 10. I consider that very young. He was a very gentle giant. I always like a Jethro type, gorgeous, sweet black lab mix, and had the kindest heart of all. So, yeah, I was thinking, I don't know that I have a question for Teddy. I may later. I do know I felt him. He left very quickly, quietly, peacefully. He just was here and then he wasn't. Um, and it was such an honor to be with him and to carry him and to just be part of that sacred journey, apart from all the memories and all the sadness and all the, it was just like this incredible thank you so much for being part of my life. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your journey. You taught me so much, and I will miss you so much. Everybody will miss him, and his mom will miss him. He was lucky enough to be with his mom, who still is with me for all of his life. So I will tell you this: the day he passed, she wouldn't leave his body. She was with him when he passed, and then I came to carry his body to the crematorium, which I'm fortunate enough to be able to do. Not everybody in areas can do that. And after I came back, she just was so quiet. So I went in there and we hung out. I just held her and I whispered to her, I said, it's not right. Our baby shouldn't go before us. And then we just sat and hugged. And so Dory is going through her own transition with her baby Teddy leaving, even though he was 10 times bigger than she was. So I was thinking, and he came to me very strongly, not several days after. I was just sitting, not doing anything in particular that I can remember. And all of a sudden, his energy wafted through with like a download of memories, one after the other, after the other. And the feeling sense from those memories of him. And it was just, it just took my breath away because it came out of nowhere. And of course, I always love the nowhere is now here as well. So I wanted to share that with you because I do think that we often don't know what our questions are. And I can always help you with that. I can help you dial down into what is it you're really asking when you email and you don't quite know. It's interesting. So thank you for everybody. Everybody's like, yes, Sharon, so glad to be here this morning with my friend Jenny, whose dog recently passed. I'm so glad you're here too, Sharon. And Claire, all of you all, thank you, thank you. It's not easy. So, what if the universe, though, has a secret hidden language that's used to communicate with us all the time? And what if your pet, who is also part of the connected universe, has the ability to send signs, synchronicities, meaningful coincidences after they've passed? They can also do it before. That's actually a great time to practice this piece, what we're going to be going through. Would you be interested in learning about that? I know for me, I've never wanted to connect more and understand the language than when they pass. I'm like, I am not going to be disconnected. This can't be right. It has to continue. So my fierceness um, I had a fierce heart intention, I guess, and still do, and do for you all as well. That's why we always talk about how you can do this. You do this, we all do this together. So the truth is, we're swimming in energy all the time, and we're connected to universal spirit, hands down, all the time. Universe is interactive, not static. This is the matrix. And I go through life literally open to signs and spirit so that my life is actually very organic, very intuitive. Things happen all the time. Connections and synchronicities happen. And that's not because I'm special and I'm different. We all have that ability. It's the energy with which I interact with life. So there's not a lot of mind chatter going on. If I whatever for instance, now, whenever I come into a space, I instantly make room for that space. And so it's just a natural, I get really quiet and I'm interested. I'm interested in what you have to say. I'm interested in what the moment is going to bring. I'm interested to hear from the animal. The problem is, most of us are too busy. And Renee, if you'd put up that graphic, I'm sure some of you guys will chuckle. The problem is, most of us are too busy, too distracted, or too overwhelmed to even notice what's in plain sight. Does anybody relate to that? And I can't say that I have always been. There have been times when I got preoccupied as well. And we can always tell it. We can tell if we're in our head versus our heart. The heart's real expansive. It's a more relaxed place to be. Um, Passings definitely open up that heart space where you get quieter. You really get quieter. So why would spirit even take the time to get our attention? Is there a purpose? Are there signs, meaningful messages, or simply lucky coincidences? Are they single events or patterns? And how in the world do we understand them? And here's the best question of all, I think. How can I sign up to increase my chances of receiving them? Do you agree? Wouldn't you like to order up spirit signs and synchronicities? And yes, Kat says, I don't believe in coincidence. Absolutely. But it's a word that is a lead in word for what we're talking about. Heather says, passing brings up feelings. Yes. But that's part of what it's designed to do. We're, we get allowed during that time to feel things we've forgotten about, to look at things that we may not have looked at in ourselves, to really do a reflection. It's an amazing, I don't know, incubator of a time. Um, Jennifer says, how do you get rid of the mind chatter? I know it blocks my ability to see the signs. That's a great question. You know, lots of different ways, Jennifer. So I think for a lot of us that have busy lives, um, we're busy with our work, we're busy with our children or our families or whatever we're involved in. I think it's easy to get hyper focused on that, so that we actually have to have an intention and make the time to step out of that. Um, so we can, and I know all of you probably have heard, you can meditate, whatever meditation means to you, of quieting the mind. Maybe you just do mindful chores. Maybe you do mindful walking, um, whatever puts you in a meditative state. And by that, I mean, you don't have to, um, you can, and it's important to literally take time out of your day, even 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening. Totally. I'm all for that. But it also can weave itself within your day. For instance, a good way to get rid of the mind chatter, and I've talked about these different things on the shows, is um, let's just say you've lost your beloved Franny. You're driving. You start thinking of her. I want you to immediately, when you do that, drop into your heart space. Drop into your heart space. You can still drive, by the way. Um, See if she's still there. Is she still there? Are you still connected? I talk to so many people who say, I just want to feel connected again. And so we'll be talking in a session and I'll say, well, just stop a minute. Where's that connection right now? Are you connected now? And they usually get a really startled look. And then we're like, well, yeah, they're right there. And I'm like, yeah, you just have to keep seeing that. You have to prove to yourself in a way and prove to your mind. So that's about a way to get rid of the mind chatter. Um, and the mind chatter is just energy that's running through you. So if we divert and distract that mind chatter to like almost like a question you wouldn't think of asking, like even if you say, oh, can I feel my heartbeat? Or can I feel a space in the car? That's always a good one. We never think of the space around us in the car. Things like that can help you drop into that no mind space. That the practice of that will help you be more receptive, uh, you know, everywhere. So signs can help. They can be hellos. They can be helpful in letting us know our loved ones are present and are rooting us on. They can also be messages that help us make a decision or guide us in some way. It's I always say it's important to look at what's going on in our lives that warranted a reach out. What is happening? Charlene says, I usually feel quite connected to nature and the animals and plants when I spend some time outdoors, and it really calms me down and grounds me. Absolutely, Charlene. I really believe that for you. Charlene has a unusual relationship with a falcon that has decided to join her on her walks and join her outside. And when things like that happen, and it's wildlife, especially, I always first of all, I'm so amazed and I'm like, wow, I can't believe this has happened. This is great. But also, and that raises my, vibration because it's very much like a kid. I'm so excited, but I'm also like, I wonder why they showed up now. And, you know, what do I need to look at? Or how do I feel? Especially how do I feel? How do I feel is like, how does that make me feel? Is such an important thing to notice. So yes, totally. That falcon is, oh, I'm hearing guiding you toward understanding more of yourself actually as I tune in. Heather says, I feel the connection is there and it never leaves us. We just need to believe and listen. You know, honestly, the belief and listening is huge. It's huge. The doubting is what we're used to because we're used to very visual things. We want proof. And sometimes these signs are subtle. They're subtle but obvious. Like I said, hidden in plain sight. So ask yourself, what's going on around me when that's happening? Um, so if you have the inner drive and determination, then you're going to have an intention to see beyond the veil. And the veil is actually so transparent. It's so transparent. And we've got the universe, the animals, anybody in spirit, always trying to connect with us, never disconnected, though it can certainly feel like that. So maybe you can't physically touch them anymore, feed them a treat. But what we can do is share the feeling of continued connection with them, just like when Teddy came to me and was like, I'm still here. I'm still here. And the dream he shared with me was very much like, look, mom, this is how we do it. We drop down, we pop out of our bodies, we run around. It's like that was a fun trick, wasn't it? So yeah, the shared feeling is what you're longing for. That is anytime you reach out to connect, that is exactly what you're looking for. I want to feel that connection again. So that's where, spirit helps us out with the signs, visual images and the synchronicities, those simultaneous occurrences of events which appear significantly related, but on the surface don't seem to be. But you get it. It's like a message for you. But those come in. So, Renee, if you'd put up that next slide, what are some of the common signs spirit uses to communicate? And I'm going to be curious as I read this if any of you have had any of these things happen. I'm, seeing your comments, and I know, for instance, like the birds and the butterflies and hummingbirds. I know Patricia with Maggie had hummingbirds come, and that's what led her to connect with me. Deer, common sign. Electrical events, cell phones. Charlie, Charley, came through on her phone when his name was spelled with an IE. I love those. Those are really cool. Rainbows, that's such an, yeah, Spirit uses that all the time. Pictures, photos, slogans, billboards, magazines, license plates, street signs, music, songs, feathers. Feathers are a big one. So are music and songs. And ladybugs. There was a little beagle named Darla who communicated with her mom after with so many ladybugs you couldn't even miss it. Like it was like being covered in ladybugs. It was so cool. And numerical sequences. So, that's a big one. So I don't know if some of you have experienced like numbers, seeing a lot of numbers. I see sometimes on my Facebook feed that you're talking about that. And that's an easy one to look up, the numerical sequences and like the 111s, the 333s, whatever it is, it's going to be significant to you, right? So it's great to look up what that means. I go for that all the time. See what the books say that represents. But I also would take it a step further. What does it mean to you? Because it's showing up in your life right now. And I just recently had a uh, Paola reach out to me, and she's had some amazing 333s and three, the number, come to her. And I'll just read briefly. When Blaze passed on the 26th, it showed on his certificate he was cremated on January 30th. When I went for my memorial tattoo consultations to have three things tattooed: paw print, his name, and the picture of the sound wave created on my phone by his purring. Oh my gosh, too cool. Um, and then one day I was driving at a red light and felt the need to open my phone. It was on my Facebook page. The page showed a memory of 3 years ago, a picture of Blaze. And when the light turned green, I put the phone down and my eyes randomly glanced at the car clock. It was 333. When I went to pick up his ashes at the vet, I cried and I had my right hand on the urn and didn't let go. After I felt okay to drive, I put the phone, I turned on the car and glanced at the car clock. It was 333. And there was three of them: Blaze, Ash, and Paola. So what's important is, what does that mean to you? What does that, because it's always connected. And the books definitely help us. They get us started, but it's always a special thing for you. Jennifer says, I woke up one morning really sad after Franny had passed. I told her good morning and then immediately grabbed my phone, the word hello spelled out in cursive across the screen. It never happened before and hasn't happened since. What a beautiful message. Talking about a good morning. Hello. I'll take it. That is great. Sheila says, my baby went on the 3-3-23. Oh, I'm so sorry, Sheila, but wow. It's very fresh for you, and I understand that. And I'm so glad you're here. And I love that already you're seeing that numerical sequence. Um, it's just amazing. So what are some other ways spirit communicates? And Renee, I think I have that slide for you. There you go. So here's where it gets a little bit more subtly obvious. Gut feelings, idea that pops into your head, hearing a voice or bark of a loved one, the sense that your loved one is present, like Teddy. Feeling sense of their present can come all of a sudden, or it can come through as a strong memory. You know, I know a lot of you, and I know I've had my fair share of this, where that memory comes through and I just lose it. I'm just like, the memory is so powerful, and I don't earlier on, I haven't necessarily equated it with, "Oh, they're visiting me." Now I realize and I can feel that. So you know, I've gotten more discerning, I guess, in my understanding of it. And for you all as well, the memories are sweetly poignant, aren't they? And we wouldn't want to take them away. We want those memories. If they can come through in a memory, bring it on, I would say. Marge says, I've been watching videos of her. I felt her beside me. Yes, Marge. They also come in dreams like Teddy did. And so I don't know if any of you on the show right now, I've had many people write to me after a show saying they felt like their pet was there and it was the strongest sense of a live energy. So this part I love too. So Renee, if you put up the synchronicity slide on for synchronicities, this is a really cute graphic with, the cat who's passed. It's your turn to love her. And the pup says, I've been waiting for this day. So animal intersections. Pay attention. What does that mean? An animal can pass and one comes in shortly after. That happens. It's like a cross. Or after a new animal comes, another passes. I've had that happen several times. I had it happen with Ernie, who's still with me. He's a beagle, and I had a cat named Leo pass, and I had taken him to the vet, and on the way back from the vet, he passed in the car. Uh, but before that, I had stopped at the stoplight, and I saw this little dog running in the intersection, and I jumped out. I put it in park. This is so Tammy, by the way. Put it in park, and I looked at him, and I said, "Dude, you're gonna get hit. Like, you better think fast. I'm happy to help you." So literally, Ernie like looks left and right and goes, "All right, you." So he jumps in my arms. I have him of course, the light changes. So I hand him to my son in the back. The cat's in the seat with my daughter next to me. We start going home, and I'm like, um, yeah, I don't know about this dog. Like, how did he come? So I'm like shocked because I didn't anticipate this one. On the way home, halfway there, Leo passed. And so now I'm really like shocked. So I just turn it around. I go back to the vet and I knock on the door and it's late. I don't even know why he's there. I never go that late. And I said, Leo has passed and I have this dog. Can you help me? So that's an animal intersection, literally where one comes in, one leaves. I had it with Teddy about 2 weeks ago. A cat came into our lives. He is now named Percy, and he felt very familiar to me. And then it was not a week later, Teddy passed. So there is a comings and goings called animal intersections. If you ever have that happen, also animals who pass before a trip. And Renee, I don't know if I have given you this slide with the listing of it. If not, I'll read it happily. Animals who pass before a trip or a move, a job change, or a new baby coming into the family, bumping into people or animals who have the same name as your loved one. You bump into that name everywhere, and numbers repeating themselves through months, birthdays, death dates. Um, so, have any of you noticed some different ones? Let me see what you say. Patty says orbs and photos. Just lost you, Patty. Yeah. After Freckles passed, he came back in as a bouncing, joyous orb in a video on my iPad. I love that. Betty says, yes, I do feel my boy with me since this started. I'm telling you, they come forward and it's such a beautiful gathering. Um, Martine says, had clairvoyantly dreams, visitation, and sensed clearly his soul energy in our house. Had so many synchronicities. Um, Learned that bond is eternal with my dear, precious angel pet guide, Troy. Yes, it always will be. We're never going to be separated from them. And it would be It would be a terrible setup, right? If that were the case, but we're not. And I'm here to remind you of that every chance I get. Um, Patty says Puppy Bailey was gifted with freckles on her nose after Freckles passed. Gosh, I love these. I love because all of yours are even different from the things we've been talking about. Rena says, "I've had dreams." I hope you're writing those dreams down. We need to write those dreams down. That's really important. And always, I'm so glad you said that because Renee, if you would put up the notebook sign, this is signature Tammy notebook, Soul Speak notebook. Keep a notebook to document the signs and synchronicities. It's so important. It's so important to note that it's an event and that you're honoring the effort that they made to get through to you. It really is it's the miraculous hidden within the world we live in. So the main thing to remember is any sign is specific to you. It's a even if it's a common way that we think spirit communicates with us. The signs are never arbitrary, meaningful to you. So you have to put on your Sherlock Holmes hat to discover what that is for you. And Renee, if you'll put the little graphic, I thought you all'd enjoy this little version of Sherlock Holmes. We have to be curious. We have to be curious. That's how we invite that energy in. It's so it's amazingly close, and when we're grieving, it can feel amazingly far away. Donna says, a kitten popped up in our garage. He was so different. I gave it away. I did not want to go through the hurt again, but kind of regret it now. Oh, Donna, I'm sorry. I hate when we have regrets. It's like the worst. Um, you have to look at yourself and say, um, what was going on with me at the time? And would it have been the best thing? And what was that? Why did that happen in my life? And always try to just rather than be judgmental of how we did things, and I get where you come from. I've had that happen. Um, it's better always to kind of go up in your helicopter and look down and see the choices you made, why you made them, the things like that that'll help you understand your choices. Um, Bob Gay says, and I think that's what Renee, if you'll pop that back up. Um, Yes, thank you. My mom and dad died in November, and so did my Molly. November is my birthday. Is right. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's definitely a connection. And Molly comes through so strongly, very, very clearly present today. I love that you all are starting to like, well, wait a minute. I've seen this and this. And rather than you say, oh, that was just I think it was them. I'm like, "Yeah, it was them." Honor them and say, "Thank you so much." And on signs and synchronicities can come when we least expect them, which is great, right? Takes us by surprise. It's like a little gift in the day. So special. But did you know you can also co-create with spirit to share signs that would be meaningful? Um, and would you also like to know when you're most receptive to signs and synchronicities? And how we can increase the chance of those. So if you are, you're most likely to encounter signs and synchronicities during, and Renee, if you'd put up the slide about high emotion. So this is from an author called Bernard Bateman, Connecting with Coincidence. He states, and I'm in total, I looked at this and I was like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what happens. Yes. So high emotion puts us in a state of that. Any kind of transitions in our lives, this seeking desire that we have, what it does, and I love the way he says that the web of everyday reality is torn. And think about that a minute. The web of everyday reality is torn. That's what happens to us, right? When our beloved soulmate passes. Our world gets wavy and skewed and cloudy. It gets it's a very much an altered state. So all of these kind of things, and I'll list some more, help you increase the chances of that. So not that we all want all those kind of things, we're like, great, high emotion. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not. But the transition piece, like, oh, well, Tammy, I just changed jobs. I'm like, you think? And that all of you have this like deep desire, uh, to find out more. Like, where are they? Like, how can how can I connect in my way? Bottom line. So Renee, if you'll put up that next slide, I'll go over and see how many of you, like, I just jotted down some things. Major transitions, births, deaths, weddings, graduations, sickness, falling in love, divorce, crisis, traveling, pops you right into that space. High emotion, when you enter, that enters us into that altered state of consciousness without realizing we are. You may even notice you don't feel like yourself because that overtakes you. We all get in our routine, so breaking out of routine and going back to that tearing our ordinary web up. Patterns, when we get in our routines, the patterns enacting the same behavior every day, it, it creates, well, no pun intended, it creates a pattern of same. So how many of you have that same daily routine? You go down the same streets, same stores, same gym, same paths. You eat the same things. You order your day by, I start this way, then I do this, and then I do this. Now, routine's good because it offers a structure, but it kind of creates a structure where it's finite. So what is your comfort zone? And note, always have to stick this in because it's such an important point. We never grow in our comfort zones. Never. We're kind of coasting a little bit in comfort zones. I'm not saying we don't all love them, but breaking out a routine opens the gates to aliveness, adventure, the unexpected. Janice says that my dog Shyla and my other cat Sugar both look over my shoulder and stare. And I know they're seeing my Joey. I know he has come for a visit. I love that you notice that. And you can say hello too. I'm glad you're catching those moments because the animals are always in tune to uh, that world that, they're not having the different mind thoughts we are that block us. So they're very good guides. I always paid attention. The dogs and the cats told me so many things that I wouldn't have known. And so, I have a signs and synchronicities playbook I'd like to share with you to help you. So here's what you're going to need: openness and willingness. Be open to new and different. Be willing to ask and have a willingness to receive. And you can check these off and see if some, you resonate or you're like, not going to do it. Intention, get interested in this fascinating world that's right in front of you. Have a heart intention to connect with life in a different way. And it's very custom to you. That's the beauty of it. When people ask me the messages and what do they mean, I say, what do they mean to you? That's so important. Focus and attention. What we put our attention on grows. Light up your energy field, the matrix of interconnectedness with your focused question and attention. So the next one would be, yeah, you're reading that right. Ask for a radish. You can be specific and ask for a sign or feeling from your loved one. That's where the kind of fun comes in. Think about it for a minute. What would you love to see? Make it specific to you so you'll know it's a message just for you. That's the only way you're going to know it. When, Adeline, when Charlie came in as, the EY versus the IE, she knew 100% that was him. No doubt. Expectation. When we expect to encounter signs from our loved ones, we lay track for the flow to begin. And note I said expectation, not doubt. I'd throw doubt out. I'd go for the expectation. And then I'm going to sound contradictive. It's not. Then let go. Don't be holding on to it. Once you've engaged all your senses, released any demands or grip you might have on the outcome, and trust that any signs or synchronicities you encounter are because of your connection to your loved one. They're specific to you, but we have to just relax and let go. Um, that's such an important part of that is releasing that. And so, a few more things for you, Renee. If you'll go up that next one, I'll be interested to know how many of you ask for a radish. Intuition. Your intuition is what will guide you to the signs, and consider it your inner GPS system. Have curiosity like a child. When we drop into that space of imagination and curiosity, like puppies, children, babies, we get out of the space of demanding something happen. It's part of that letting go piece. And patience. I know Jeff with Daisy, some signs occur almost immediately, and others may take a few days. You know, I always say spirit doesn't operate from our time space dimension. And remember, it is not the spirit on demand channel. Um, they will come when you least expect and when you need it most, and it'll be the most meaningful for you. And then say thank you. Expressing your gratitude for the signs and synchronicities, even if they're small, especially if they're small. If you consider them small, they're huge. Honors the interconnectedness and creates a true feeling of shared existence. And say thank you when your pet shows up in whatever form you receive, or you receive the help you were asking for. And so, Renee, if you'll put up that next slide, I love this quote. Coincidences, and we'll use synchronicities and signs since we all agree that there's not necessarily that. It's an extension into, are not exotic flowers growing under certain circumstances. They are more like common wildflowers popping up all around us. Once you get used to seeing them under special circumstances, you'll be ready to see them in daily life. I love that quote because that shows that you too can find all kinds of flowers called signs and synchronicities, and you will by embracing those kinds of things that I talked about in those slides. um, Heather says, I'm in high emotion. I know it will be 1 year that Birdie passed on Monday. Gosh, I miss seeing her. Knowing I have Ollie and Georgie mean the world to me. They are here for a purpose, but I know it's going to be hard, but having them helps. I'll tell you what, Heather, why don't you do something which you would do anyway, probably do something really special, um, special for Birdie, like something she would like just because she's current with you. And I know last shows somebody was going to make a rainbow cake um, for her dear pet who passed on the day. So do something that makes you feel good. I'm all about planting flowers too. I love planting flowers in spring in honor of somebody. So let your imagination take over and ask your animal. Ask Birdie what she would like. That is a great way to practice what we're talking about. Um, put it into practical language like I always love to do. Um, so Oh, Betty says, "We called my boy Birdie." Uh, Paola says, "I just got chills from that quote. So true." Yes, I agree. And Kara said, "It was 2 days from when I asked the boys to come see me in my dreams that they came." You know, don't get discouraged. It's something, we always have to work on relationships. This is a different form of the relationship, right? This is a deeper, it's the language you already had together, so it's not like you can't communicate. It's just we're usually taught that communication comes in a certain form. This is how you communicate. This is how you talk. And I'm like, there's so much more to that. The communication envelops so much more. Maxine says, my friend's dog will sit by Monty's urn when they come over. Oh, I love it. And Rena says, I also had a foster dog suddenly cuddle with me in a way she hadn't done before. I was suddenly overcome with emotion and my heart pounded. I started to sob uncontrollably, and I knew in an instant Snow had come to me through Bonnie Sue for a few brief moments. I will never forget it. I am getting chills from that. I don't know if any of you all are, but that's such a beautiful, and I can feel the energy of Snow very clearly on the show, confirming and validating for us all that yes, we're here. Embrace that. So I'd like to give you something, as always. So Renee, if you'd put up that, here's the what I would call, and the animals dropped this in the other day. I was like, well, this is really cute. It's a little small, but I'll read it to you. I called it, or they called it, you know, open invitation to spirit. So I like to, because I'm always inviting in. I don't demand and I don't expect it. So my open invitation to spirit, would be I'd use one of those journals or pick another one. At the start of the journal, you've dedicated to recording the signs and synchronicities like you said you would do. Write this. Dear, put the name of your pet. You are invited to my inner world where our connection eternally exists. The date, today and every day. Where? All places, every place, no place. Time, the eternal present moment. What to bring? Your beautiful spirit. Request, this is where you fill in the signs you want to receive. Start with one or two. Make it simple and specific. Ask for a radish. Make it personal, meaningful. Make it fun. Start with, I would absolutely love for you to, and write whatever comes. And then put, please RSVP by sending the signs, ones that'll catch my attention. I always tell the animals, and at the time when they were coming so frequently, would I ask Universe God to please help me know which ones I was meant to work with, help them make themselves clear to me. And that request was always honored. And so, Renee, if you'll put up the next one, I ran out of space. So on this one, the receipt confirmation, this is your part of the agreement that we're making formally. I will confirm by jumping for joy, getting goosebumps, writing in my journal, yelling out yippee, and saying aloud thank you for making me understand that you are truly here and want to continue the conversation. My promise, I will honor our continued connection always. And then sign it. This is a very, very powerful way to connect and to ask for and receive the signs and synchronicities your heart really wants. Ruby said, oh, love this format, Tammy. Just what I needed to start up the spirit communication with my Ruby. Oh, yes. Yes. Um, totally on that one. So it was such a powerful, message from the animals that came through. I couldn't wait to share it with you because I always, even if I'm wanting to connect with my animal now, one of them, if I wanted to connect with Teddy, which I always do because he's such a gentleman, I would start out by writing him a letter, dear Teddy, I love you and I want you to know that this is another way open, to make it a formal invitation. You're saying, I'm going to show up for you. I'm glad it's really helping you. I hope it helps you. Addie says, love it. And Jennifer, thank you for this. I'm crying and laughing at the same time. This has the potential to open up so many doors for you all. It's something you can use all the time, anytime you want it, with any being. This goes for spirit people too. It's not just animals, but we're especially, I think, lost with any death, but especially these precious babies that we think we've truly lost that connection. I am absolutely here to say you have not. So with that, I can't wait to get some of your questions and photos. Oh my gosh, I want to share with everybody. And as I do, and you're watching, please please join me and See what you are picking up yourself as I do a reading. Janice says, "Thank you for this." You're quite welcome. I'm so honored to be able to share this with you. Susie says, "Wonderful and insightful gathering." Yes, beautiful group of soul connections. 100%. I could feel our animal and human angel connections. Thank you for bringing us all together. I always say, if I show up, that's my job to show up. And so if we all show up, the animals are like, well, finally, we got them all together. Like we will drop them off at daycare and they can have a good time together. So, Renee, if you would throw up some of those photos and questions, I'd love to do some readings for you. So, this is Bob. Bob, I really appreciate you sending this in. Molly passed November 3rd, 2021, of a brain tumor. For the last 5 or so years, she was never on leash, but preferred just walk with me. Mm. We knew what the other wanted or needed instantly. I thought about going. I thought if I thought about going out, she would get up and walk through to the door. It's been a while since we spoke, but the other day I felt her on the back of my neck as I was falling asleep, and it startled me. And I snapped awake, and she was gone. I'd like to know if it was really her. I talk to her during the day and when I say my prayers at night. My heart has been acting up and I really feel it's a broken heart. But at 82, I've lived a great life and can't wait to see Molly again. Thank you for writing in. That is an incredibly poignant and special sharing. Um, the connection that you two have, I'm seeing a light between the two of you, actually. It's one of those lights, as they all are, it never got snuffed out, I can promise you. And it's interesting how they can have passed and we don't feel them for a while and we think they're gone. And then you are absolutely spot on. She was on the back of your neck. And that's a lot of times what'll happen. It'll be in that state of you're falling asleep. It's like that in between space. Uh, so that's meditative space in itself. Um, and it startled you. That's actually you're connecting to it and recognizing it. That startle is you're recognizing it. And I love that you felt her. I'm wondering what it felt like to you when you say, I felt her on the back of my neck. She's wanting to know what exactly did you feel? Um, she's really excited in spirit. I feel her. She hears you talking to her. She says she talks back. So I don't know if you've ever heard her or maybe if you do these exercises, she's going to really get chatty because she says she's very opinionated and has a lot to say. Um, and she says that she went on adventures with you and she said she was a traveling companion. So so much here and so much to go forward with. Um, and she doesn't want you to live with a broken heart, she says. That's why she comes to you. She said, your heart is the most beautiful heart she's ever seen. Oh, and she's saying the two of you shared the same heart. That's so beautiful. Please let me know if you do any of these exercises and what she connects with you on, because it certainly is living proof that they come and there's no time zone, time period. Thank you for sharing, Bob. And this is Kirsty. I lost Bella unexpectedly on 2/7/23. Oh, I'm so sorry. So recent. She died in my arms in the middle of the night. I had her since she was 8 weeks old until she took her last breath. At 11 and a half, my heart hasn't been since the same since she passed. There have been times I swear I heard her barking in the same area in my home that she passed. Anything you can sense about my Bella would be appreciated and comforting. Whew. So Bella comes forward very determined and very like I'm wanting to use the word important, that it's important that she get through to you because you haven't believed it and she's worried about your heart being broken. She's doing a lot to get through to you, more things than the barking. She's very pleased you heard that though, because it takes, think about it, it takes a lot from spirit to actually manifest in that way. And so when we're receptive, if that's all we have to do is be receptive, definitely get on it. And however you can be receptive, because, oh, she's also using the word letter. So I don't know if you've written her a letter, but she wants you to write her a letter. But there's an urgency, I feel like, a not urgency, maybe that's too strong of a word. There's an importance, like she wants to connect and with you specifically, and get your attention, she says. So I very much feel, um, that she has a lot to say to you and is eager. That's the word I want to use. When I say urgent, that's what it was. She was like corrected me. Um, when she died in your arms and your heart has been, she said she wouldn't have wanted to pass anywhere else. That was such a sacred moment that a lot of times we don't often have, even though it's very, very difficult. So she wants your heart to expand. Even if our hearts break, they open even more. So I hope this helped, and thank you so much for sharing her with us. This is Kathy, my canine soulmate Beck, lost almost a year ago on April 11th. It's always uncanny when, we have these shows and they're right at that anniversary date. I rescued him and he became a therapy dog, my constant best friend, saw me through the death of my mom, my 23-year-old marriage ending, and other things. There were times when he truly was all I had. This year has been torturous. Mm, I'm so sorry. I miss my baby so much, and I don't know how to be okay with him being gone. The cancer that killed my mom is the same that took my boy, lymphoma. I need him to know that mommy still loves him and wants him back when I pass from this world. My goodness, what a special, special soulmate who came to you in the most remarkable of ways, he says. And he has been with you this whole year. And he says for you not to remember and focus on how he passed. They always want to remind us to not focus on and relive this over and over again, that nothing went wrong and he actually popped out of his body very quickly, but to focus on the very things that you are honoring him for today. He says he was a rescue dog, but you rescued each other literally. And y- yes, you were his therapy person too, he says. He's like, it doesn't fall far from the tree kind of feel. And he's also using like best friends always, like we will never be separated, but he's coming to you to let you know how much he does hear you and feel you. And he's wanting to know what's next on the list, actually. Um, Passing from the world, he's still joined with you here. So he wants to know what's next on the list. So are you including him in your talks? Do you write to him? He likes his name too. So he says, when you write to me, make sure you put my name, like, Dear Beck, and Beck, I love you. And he's definitely very proud of his name. He's got a proud sense of himself. And he, oh, so he's wanting to share those strengths that he has with you right now. I see him like giving it to you, like merging with you so you can feel him. That would be a really good practice for you to do, actually, is to get quiet and just close your eyes and feel him and let him come to you in the way you need it. You will know, just like Teddy came to me, you will totally know. So hopefully that helps. Thank you. Jen, today my boy Ramsay passed away at only 5 years old. I think that was a week or two ago. I'd like to know if he has reincarnated into one of my new dogs. Their mannerisms are so much the same. She is a female, but I have a strong connection to her. I feel his spirit may be within her. Oh my goodness, what a handsome boy. He's so handsome. He's like, I am so handsome. Um, he also likes his name too. The name thing, he's got it going on. So I don't know if how that name came to you, but he's very proud of that name. Uh, so with soul mergings and soul connections, 100%, he's very pleased that you have noticed that. He says he knows her, that they know each other. So a lot of times when we look at reincarnation with animals and people even, but reincarnation, it's like their souls merge and the soul essences join together so that there's somebody new, right? There's somebody new that gets created, that we get to experience new feelings and new mannerisms. And so there's this beautiful blending, and that's what I feel has happened. And I feel like you're catching, he's like you caught the whiff of that. So he's super glad that you're on it, because he's very intentional in how he makes his spirit shown. So I love that you gave us all a chance to kind of look and examine that question and think about it a little bit. You know, my Skittles is emerging with sneakers, and it's just he's his own little Skittles boy, but he's got sneakers all over that, and so we always are about being new in spirit. New in spirit. Just always remember that. New in spirit. So he's new in your new ones, spirit and body. Jen, thank you so much for sharing. It's such an honor. And it's an honor to be with you always. You don't know how much I enjoy our time together, or I hope you do. I love our conversations. I think we are changing the way we communicate with animals and each other, one conversation at a time. Please come back for our next show. No telling what the animals are going to lead us to. Let's always keep the conversation going. Thank you for coming.
You've been enjoying Tammy's Soul Speak featuring animal intuitive and medium Tammy Hendricks.